Today, we are going to help guide you with some tips on the installation of your new Poolline 14-inch sand filtration system, which includes the following: a 3rd horsepower electric pump motor complete with pump strainer assembly, flat sand filter support, filter tank body, multi-port valve, drain plug assembly, a large bag containing items necessary for putting together your filter system along with your owner's manual. A few items to note before starting. Be sure to read your owner's manual, including all of the warnings and safety information. Also, when you purchase your sand, make sure to buy number 20 filtration sand. The recommended amount required is listed on the sticker on the front of the filter tank. This model requires about 27 kilograms, which is about 60 pounds. Note that when using O-rings on the male pipe thread adapters and on the multi-port valve, grease them with waterproof grease sold separately. Petroleum-based greases are not recommended. You may wish to purchase 2 isolation or slam ball valves in place of the male pipe thread valve supplied. More specifics to follow. You will need to purchase a backwash hose, minimum of 25 feet. Tools required to have on hand to help with the assembly are a flathead screwdriver and a Phillips head screwdriver. 1 1/4 connection hoses are provided with this kit. If you would prefer 1 1/2 hoses, you would need to purchase them separately. When looking at the MPT included in this kit, the top fitting is for 1 1/4 hose, and the next level down is for 1 1/2 fitting. Carefully remove all of the items from the box. Make sure you have all of the items listed above. First, start by mounting the electric pump motor to the flat filter support base with the 4 nuts and bolts that come with your filtration package. Install the drain plug assembly to sand tank. Note that the short, thicker side goes inside of the tank. Then place one gasket inside the tank body. Place the other gasket outside the tank body. Then the hex nut, and lastly the plug with the small gasket inside. Press and turn the sand tank to mount it to sand filter support base with the drain plug on the outside, the complete opposite side of the pump motor. Insert the tube with the diffuser body inside the tank, and then place the protective cap funnel on the tank's mouth. Pour number 20 filtration sand into the tank. Remove plastic protective cap. Keep this cap as you will need it when you load and change sand in the future. Check the tank's neck, as it needs to be clean and clear of all debris. Put the O-ring on the multi-port valve. Attach the multi-port valve to the middle of the tank. Press the multi-port valve tightly onto the manifold assembly so there are no gaps when placing it onto the tank body, lining it up with the direction of the pump port on the valve facing pump out port. Place the 2-piece large black clamp around the tank neck, securing the dial valve on the filter body. Use a Phillips head screwdriver to tighten the 2 screws and nuts into the clamp. Next, locate your 5 male pipe thread insert adapters. Be sure to place O-rings with waterproof grease on each of them before connecting. One will go into the waste port and one will go into the pool return outlet. 2 will be used to hook the pump to the dial valve and 1 into the pump suction. You may want to install a ball valve instead at the pump suction and on your pool return. This will make servicing your filter system and cleaning your pump strainer basket easier. Next, connect the hoses to the MPT adapters. You may want to soak hose cuffs in hot water to soften and make them more pliable so they can slide in further. Make sure clamps are on loosely before connecting, eliminating the need to completely open up the clamp. Hose cuffs need to go all the way on the threaded nut. Take the smallest hose and connect one end to the pump outlet and one end to the dial valve location marked pump. Tighten clamps with your flathead screwdriver. Next, hook up one of the two longer hoses to the pump suction. Tighten clamps. Connect the other end to the back of the pool return. Lastly, connect your backwash hose at the dial valve location marked waste. Remember, all backwash water needs to be drained at least 25 feet away from your pool. Make sure all clamps are tightened. Next, install your pressure gauge. While first removing the threaded pipe plug, be sure to wrap layers of Teflon tape around the threads of the pressure gauge before installing, pushing down the tape into the threads each time you go around. Make sure all connections are tightened and secured. Once your filter system has been fully assembled, you are ready to start your filtration system. Before operating, be sure to fully read all instructions and safety information contained in your owner's manual. Make sure that the correct amount of filter sand is in the tank and that all connections have been made and are secure. Make sure there is no power to the system anytime you are changing the filter positions. This system does not have an on-off switch. You get power to the system by plugging it in. Always connect only to a grounding type receptacle protected by a ground fault circuit interrupter. With the system off, depress the dial valve handle and rotate it to backwash position. Always depress the handle before turning your dial valve. All backwash water needs to be drained at least 25 feet away from your pool. Make sure the water in your pool is filled up to the middle of the skimmer housing before starting the motor. Be sure all suction and return lines are open, allowing the filter tank to fill. Make sure the pump is plugged in and start the pump. Never run it dry, as it may damage seals, causing leaking and flooding. Once water is flowing out of the backwash line, run pump for at least 2 minutes. The initial backwashing of the filter is recommended to remove any impurities or fine sand particles in the sand media. Turn pump off. Depress valve handle and set valve to rinse position. Start pump and operate until water is clear, for about a half to 1 minute. Turn pump off and depress valve handle, turning set valve to filter position. Restart pump. The filter is now operating in the normal filter mode, filtering dirt particles from pool water. Never change dial position with pump power on. Always depress the handle before changing dial positions on the multi-port valve. Check system and filter for water leaks and tighten connections, bolts, and nuts as required. Notice what the initial pressure gauge reading is when the filter is clean. As the filter removes dirt and impurities from the pool water, accumulation in the filter will cause the pressure to rise and flow to diminish. When pressure gauge reads 8 to 10 psi higher than the initial clean pressure you noted, it is time to backwash or clean the filter. It may be necessary to backwash more frequently in the initial cleanup of the pool due to the unusually heavy initial load of dirt in the water. Remember to only tighten trap cover by hand. Do not over-tighten. Grease with waterproof grease when necessary. To prevent damage to the pump and filter for the proper operation of the system, clean pump strainer and skimmer basket regularly. Filtration. Set valve to filter for normal filtering, also for regular vacuuming. Backwash. For cleaning filter. When filter pressure gauge rises 8 to 10 psi above startup or clean pressure, stop the pump. Set valve to backwash. Start pump and backwash until clear. Approximately 2 minutes or less, depending on dirt accumulation. Proceed to rinse. Rinse. After backwashing with pump off, set valve to rinse. Start pump and operate for about a half to 1 minute. This ensures that all dirty water from backwashing is rinsed out of the filter to waste, preventing possible return to the pool. Stop pump. Set valve to filter and start pump for normal filtering. Winterize. For freeze protection, all ports are self-draining to prevent freeze damage. Never change dial positions with pump power on. Always depress the handle before changing dial positions on the multi-port valve. We hope you found this video helpful and you enjoy your Poolline 14-inch sand filter system for years to come.